Today, we're talking about one of the most unbelievable pardons in U.S. history. We're talking about how Donald Trump has pardoned former Honduran president and known drug trafficker, convicted drug trafficker, Juan Orlando Hernandez, a man that a federal jury, an American federal jury, convicted for running Honduras basically as a narco-state. And Trump has pardoned this guy, the president who is condoning and ordering the killing of random possible civilians under the guise of stopping drug trafficking, has pardoned a known drug trafficker. And we're going to try to make sense of that. And spoiler alert, we are not going to be able to make sense of it because this is just Donald Trump having no regard for the rule of law and for American democracy. I'm Shant Karnikian. That's Brian Kabateck. This is another installment of Civil Action on the Legal AF Network. Before we dive in, just a reminder, hit that subscribe button if you like this content, if you like what the other folks are bringing you on the Legal AF Network. We'd appreciate you following us and supporting us just by doing that. So, Brian, where do we dive in with this?
I think the place to start with this, Sean, is to bring out the most obvious issue here, at least to me. So Juan Orlando Hernandez, JOH as he's known, was convicted by a jury, meaning he was afforded due process rights. This case and investigation went on for 10 years. He had an opportunity to appeal. He appealed. I believe his appeal was denied or is still pending. But how do you juxtapose this at the same time with Trump and his administration blowing out of the water boats with no evidence that there's drugs on them or not, with people on board who have been not afforded due process and killing them? How do you, under the auspices of these are drug traffickers, whether it's fentanyl or cocaine or whatever, how do you explain this in light of that?
I cannot. I mean,
it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous. Yeah. And, we're going to talk about some of the issues here in 1 second. But first of all, this undermines the hard work of the prosecutors, the hard work of the Drug Enforcement Agency. These are non-political people. These are people who were just doing their jobs. They put a case on. They convinced a jury. They convinced a judge who specifically said that there was evidence that he ran Honduras as a narco-state, facilitating over 400 tons of cocaine into the United States from 2004 until 2022. 400 tons.
I mean, it doesn't just undermine the work that these folks, I agree, it undermines the work that the Justice Department did on this, but also undermines the rule of law. It undermines our whole system, our criminal justice system, where you do something wrong, you get punished for it. And what better of an example that even the former president of a country isn't immune from the American rule of law. You mess with Americans, you commit crimes here, you get in trouble here and you get sentenced here. But you have due process, and all of that was followed here, and just wipe it all out. I do not understand.
So let's get into some of the nitty gritty here. So it doesn't just sound like we're anti-Trump. Oh, we are, but it doesn't sound like that. It also sounds, I want people to understand what the facts are that came out in this case. So what really happened is that that JOH sent a letter that was delivered to Trump by Roger Stone. Roger Stone,
who is a interesting character in and of himself. Also a beneficiary of a Trump pardon, right?
Well, so many are these days.
Many are, yeah. Yeah, just you and me, we're still waiting. Well, he has no reason to pardon us. We don't need pardoning, but yeah, basically so many people, baffling why they get it, but yeah, they have it. But Roger Stone is one of them. He's at the top of that list of crazy pardons that Trump's given out. Personally delivered it. The letter made a bunch of, I think I had distilled it down to 5 big nonsense claims. The first was that the case relied on uncorroborated criminal witnesses. Well, you know what? They had the opportunity to cross-examine those witnesses. A jury heard it and believed them. So, by that logic, every case has uncorroborated witnesses.
Right. Yeah. But apparently these weren't uncorroborated because there was evidence to back it up, including ledgers that showed that there was $1 million that El Chapo himself had given this guy to fund his 2013 presidential election. his presidential campaign, phone records tying him to cartel leaders like Giovanni Fuentes Ramirez, a key witness, financial records showing drug money went to his political campaigns from other people. And I mean, so these aren't just people who showed up and testified, but like you said, that's every trial we've ever been in. People come in and testify and juries weigh their.
That's how trials work. People come in. You're not going to have a video or a signed confession in every case. I mean, look, sometimes you have it. Sometimes you have someone dead to rights. You have a video of something doing the wrong thing, whether it's in the criminal world or...
Let's go to number 2. He claimed that there was a video.
He claims that there's a video that shows an opposition party member taking a bribe or something like that. And that this video was suppressed or the prosecutors ignored it or something.
The video doesn't exist. There's no evidence that it ever existed. There was not a single witness who ever said it existed. So it's sort of a Trump-esque made up conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
That he claimed that he was a staunch U.S. ally in fighting the drug war, and he was praised by Trump. Well, he did praise him, which doesn't, I don't think, shock anybody. But it was also based on his public image. And also, the U.S. and he did have a close relationship. In fact, there was about $500 million that went to, his alleged effort to fight drug trafficking. But as it turns out, a lot of that money may have ended up in his pocket.
Yeah, it ended up in his pocket. So if he was a partner, why would the U.S. have been investigating him for years and bring these charges? He wasn't that important or good of a partner to the U.S. Another claim, the fourth claim I think we're on now, is that this was just Biden. This was Biden lawfare is the phrase that they use. I'm sure that's a good, big calling card of idiots like Roger Stone. But he was convicted under Trump. His brother was convicted under Trump. JOH's brother was convicted under Trump. The extradition request was issued under Trump. I mean, this wasn't Biden's case. The investigations began in 2014. So this has nothing to do with Biden or Biden lawfare or anything like that.
Right. The investigation was hot and heavy during Trump's first term. And yes, the prosecution did take place during Biden's term and ended in 2024, in middle of 2024, June of 2024, when he was convicted. But there's no indication that it was a Biden campaign. But I guess that brings us sort of to the fifth point, Shant.
Which is a very good point. He's innocent and he was only imprisoned because he was trying to fight communists, right? I don't know.
And he really, what he did here was he tied it to Trump's own claim that he's been a victim and a witch hunt. Yeah. He just tied it directly to that it's just like you, Mr. President, just like you. I'm a good man who's being mistreated by people. And this didn't happen at all. And it completely ignores the judicial system, what happened here.
Yeah, a jury convicted him. To say I'm innocent, I mean, who's the arbiter of whether someone's innocent or guilty? According to our Constitution, it's a jury of your peers, and a jury here found that he is guilty.
And not just guilty of 400 tons, full stop, 400 tons of cocaine, but he also was found guilty of using and carrying firearms, including machine guns, during and relation to drug trafficking, and conspiring to possess machine guns and destructive devices.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the real reason behind this pardon, because there certainly is no merit behind any of these 5 bullshit claims that we reviewed. The real reason is, I think, Trump sees him as a strong man. Trump sees a similar story. Anti-left is the spin here. This guy can stand up to the leftists that are in Honduras. I mean, maybe that's what it is. I mean,
I think also, Trump, who is supposed to be Mr. America First, really is interested in foreign policy, is once again going back to policies of this country from the, late 40s, 50s, early 60s about controlling what's going on in Central and South America. Honduras is a potential choke point. It control things that way. I mean, I don't really think that Trump cares about the drug wars. I think what this is all about is control, manipulation and control. And this is just another pawn that he's putting into play there.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's sort of, I see it as sort of silly that his heartstrings are so easy to pull on, in the sense that like he kind of got manipulated. He got played by this guy. Oh, Mr. Trump, I'm just like you. You know, the Biden administration went after me too. I'm being unfairly persecuted. Please help me. And Trump falls for this stuff. So I don't know how you
somebody
reconcile.
in the White House, is there somebody that's talking to him and says, you know, Mr. President, this is kind of a bad look when we're blowing up poor, sort of, you know, peasants in Venezuela on these boats. It's a bad look. At the same time, you're doing that and justifying.
No, I think
that.
what they tell him is, this will piss off the liberals. You should do it. It'll keep the news cycle in this stuff. It'll piss off the liberals. It doesn't just piss off the liberals, Sean. That's the thing I don't get. Is there are people in his own party who are scratching their head right now? Yeah, I think so. If you're a Republican senator and you're looking at this and you're going, what the fuck is happening? I bet. So, you know, that's what I think it does. At some point, you got to think that even his supporters or former supporters or members of his party are probably looking at this and going like, oh my God.
Hey, Sean, do you think that pardoning people has become like an addiction for him? That he can't go more than 48 hours with finding some rich, powerful person in the world to pardon?
He just wakes up and goes, who am I going to fucking pardon?
Tapping a vein when I got to find a pardon. Find me a pardon. Do you think like at 3 a.m. he's running down the hallways? If he's not looking for McDonald's, he's looking for someone to pardon at the White House? I think he's like, it's part of, he's building on his grift. It's like he's earning sort of favors from all of these people. Now this guy's forever indebted to him. I mean, look, once he's done with this presidency and he's going to get convicted of something, he could flee to Venezuela. Or he could flee to Honduras, not Venezuela. They'll blow him up there. But he could run away to Honduras. You know, maybe. Just a couple of days ago, before this one came down, we're not going to cover it today. We're going to get into it when we do our pardon parade soon. He pardoned a guy named David Gentile, who was found guilty for his role in what prosecutors described as a $1.6 billion scheme that defrauded thousands of investors. We're not talking about that today, but I'm starting to believe he's got a pardon addiction.
Yeah, maybe. Or he's just building favors with these people. He's just, all these people owe him stuff now. Rod Blagojevich, who else? I mean, it doesn't end. I mean, all the J6ers.
Hey, my last comment on this, I promise I'll shut up on it, is that, you know, and I've said this before, is that when he pardons somebody like this, and imagine if you were a parent who has a kid in prison serving years in prison for drug trafficking or for possession or whatever the case may be, holding up a liquor store, and you look at this and you must think to yourself, man, this country has abandoned me.
Yeah. What I was going to say, imagine being someone who's had a family member be a victim of drug violence or drug overdose or something like that. And this man clearly played a role in drug trade. You know, it's probably hard to trace the drugs directly to this guy himself, but he clearly contributed to the drug trade, drugs coming to the U.S. And then you find out that Trump's pardoning him. I mean, Trump's letting him off the hook after a jury convicted him. I mean, I don't know how those people keep supporting him, and maybe they won't. And maybe the tide is turning. I mean, people will start seeing through this, and I have hope that they will, because this is truly undermining the rule of law and democracy. So we'll keep you posted. Stay tuned on what happens with this guy, if anything changes. I'm sure there will be more pardons. We'll have to do another pardon parade soon when we talk about all the terrible people that Trump is letting off the hook for no good reason. And thanks for tuning in. I'm Shant Karnikian. That's Brian Kabateck. This has been another installment of Civil Action on the Legal AF Network. Reminder, if you like this stuff, hit that subscribe button. Check out the other folks on our channel. If it's your first time tuning in, watching us, hope you found this entertaining or at least informative. One of the above. At least, maybe you think I'm entertaining and Brian's informative. At least one of those. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.